Welcome to Roof It Up. This is a podcast about innovators, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and their stories about the course they took by Saenz Global.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Roof It Up. So today, super excited because we're going to talk to a supplement expert. If you're in the roofing world, you probably already know who he is. He is the CEO of a very successful supplementing company, and we have Max Rosenbloom on the show. Now, I can talk about Max for a while because the guy is really awesome. If you're watching this, he's awesome. If you're listening to this, you're going to see how awesome he is. But Max, I'm actually going to hand the mic over to you and let you share a little bit about who you are and a little bit about yourself. So go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, true pleasure being on with you. So, where to start? Like you said, my name is Max. I own and run Supplement Experts. We have been around for 4 or 5 seasons now. I think 4+ seasons now.
Love it.
My background in this industry is I graduated from the University of Colorado, and I kind of was at that crossroads in life where I realized that, if I wanted to reach a lot of my career and financial goals, I was either going to have to rethink the path I was on or go do my post-grad. And when I graduated from college, I was spent. I mean, it's funny, a lot of your life you hear wait till you get done with school and you're in the real world and, it's so much more stressful. And yes, there is some truth for that. And I think that might be the case for a lot of people. But for me, it wasn't. I really stressed out about school. And it's funny, I still have reoccurring sometimes nightmares about being a credit or 2 short in college and not actually graduating and things like that. So that stress is really honestly, it has stuck with me.
It's PTSD from college.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's funny. That's exactly what I said to someone else. So I got out and I ran into one of my buddies who was working at this startup, and he said, "Why don't you come work with us and just do sales, see how you like it?" And I told my dad that was what I was going to do, and he wasn't too thrilled, but he him being him, he always supports me, and he was supportive. And I went there, and it was really good for a while, and then I myself and the rest of the sales team got laid off, and this was in May of I think 2016 or something like that. And if you live in Colorado, which is where I live and where I was at the time, at the beginning of that year, a absolutely monster hailstorm smoked, just west of Denver and through a lot of Denver metro. And I just, literally the day I got laid off was the day I met a man by the name of Jared Rash, who owns RoofScope and Metro Construction. And he told me, hey, why don't you come work for us for the summer. And and that's what I did. So I the next day I started selling roofs, and just with the sheer damage and just area of this storm, it was easy to sell roofs. It really didn't take much. You got up there, you took pictures, you got down, and that's what I did. I sold roofs, and I didn't really know much, but there wasn't a ton of salespeople at this company at the time. Actually, I think I might have been the first or the second. And they, it was easy. And it was easy until
it was easy
because
I was like, it was easy because it was a need.
Yeah, it was easy to sell the jobs. Okay, let it was easy to sell the jobs, and then came everything else after that, which you just don't know at the time,
right?
But I learned quickly, that I was giving out free upgrades that I didn't know about, and that I had to learn how to supplement a job and get it pushed to production. And it wasn't just going up there documenting some things, taking 10 pictures, coming down and, just submitting the paperwork and everything was going to go smooth from there. That just isn't the reality, because it's a 2-part job, right? Where you're selling and you're project managing. The project managing piece was something that I didn't fully understand right away, but to make my clients happy, I had to learn that pretty quick, right? And part of that came the supplementing piece, and at first I really just thought you told the carrier exactly what you need and they would approve it, and you'd be on your way, and you'd make your profit margins and everything was good. And then like once I found out my 10 line item estimate wasn't fully getting approved, like that's where I had to learn, hey, like there's a lot more to this. And to my own credit, I did learn it. And I got asked to and stepped into the role of being the full-time supplementer at this company. And
Nice.
we grew the next year to 10 plus salespeople I learned a lot about what, the stresses of that and things of the nature of, when you scale, the complications that come with that. And I got to really be a part of that. So I got to learn the ins and outs from everything from like sales to productions to collections and obviously supplements. And what really happened for me there was I started to learn how to build some processes and processes and best practices and things like that. And eventually I came to the realization that this was, while I was happy at the time at the company I was at, and I'm, forever grateful for the opportunity that I had there, that I had a bigger opportunity awaiting me on my own. And I had, some people who had moved into other markets that were, previously at the company reaching out to me and asking me to, help them with their supplements. And once it made sense, and, it wasn't something that I was like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. It was like, no, like,
you enjoyed it.
It was great. And then I saw the better opportunity for myself. And, that's when I started Supplement Experts. So, I think the thing about myself that I'd say is, while I never owned a roofing company, but I worked very closely with an owner who's very just successful and bright-minded individual who I learned a ton from. And, I'm forever grateful for how I got into this industry, and just the personal growth that I've had since starting Supplement Experts has been substantial. And it's funny when I look back year over year of our company's growth and my personal growth, I can really speak to specific points of my career and of the lifetime of Supplement Experts where, I could tell you, it was at this month, at this time where I made this decision, or I had to make this change in myself. And this was the result of it. And it's funny because, I am an extremely analytical person. Like that's what I make a vast majority of my decisions.
Which is a really good thing when you're a supplementer. You're analytical, that like totally need you. Like we don't need the creatives doing supplement. We need the analytical. So that's actually a really good trait.
So just seeing, and recording when I made the change and what I made the change to, and my notes, and taking a look at the analytics and see how they jump and things like that is just a big part of our growth. And it's funny, like we get into these slower months in the roofing industry, and I think you have to feel it. Everyone feels it when it slows down, and you do spend 9 months of the year stressing out about those 3 months when things slow down, and how you budget correctly, and how you keep busy and things of that nature. What I do in my mind is to push down that stress, and I guess alleviate that stress is, I really look forward to the time of year where it gets a little bit slower for myself personally, and I can make these system changes and really try to make that next jump into the busy season where we make that next step up as a business. And, and it's not just so much, it's not for me like, well, like, if we make this business, we're gonna reap this benefit and stuff like that. It's more so, if we make this change, when we make this change, how is it going to benefit our clients? How is it going to
Right.
benefit our employees? How is
Yeah.
this going to open up opportunity, not for myself necessarily or supplement experts, but it's how we position ourselves to be better for, like I said, our clients and for our employees and stuff like that. Our focus. I'm honestly just staring at my notes. And if you look at everything we're really pushing right now, it's all client experience driven, because
Love it.
our results last year, as far as it goes for the analytics on the supplementing and things like that, it just continuously got better, and it's going to continuously get better. But I think as a business owner, you need to really focus on not just what you're doing great, but more so like where you fell short on.
Right. The constant refining, right? I think like as business owners, it is constantly refining. And it's, I think a lot of it has to do with curiosity and testing out, like, this works. It's not, it's kind of always having to, analyze, of course. But I love one word that you said, actually it's two words, but like processes and procedures, right? Like us being an admin, we know that is a magic word that a lot of business owners really miss huge opportunities because they don't implement processes and procedures. So, so cool to hear that story. Tell us about what you do. Like what are the benefits of working with you and your team?
There's multiple benefits, but some might benefit one client more than the next.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot of companies out there that struggle to find good in-house supplementers for the right price. Just because those people, once they do get good enough that they handle your files correctly, they often, similar to kind of like what I did, see a bigger opportunity or see a bigger value than what a lot of them are, getting paid, I guess, on like a yearly salary. And I understand that.
Right.
But at the same time, just getting someone in the door and getting them to the point where they're producing at a level similar to what we produce at. That's a lot of time and energy and a lot of dollars, right?
Right.
Which is in this industry is hard. And if you kind of listen to what I was saying earlier, when you get into this slow time of year, that's kind of when you would bring someone like that in full time, right? Like, okay, we're going to need this person, and that person's expensive when you don't have a lot of cash flow coming in the door. But by the time you do have a lot of cash flow coming in the door, you're extraordinarily busy, right? And then like I said, that time and energy that it takes to really get someone to the point where they're proficient at supplementing, or, getting them, even if someone's proficient at supplementing, maybe they're not very good operationally, and it's hard to get them integrated into your processes.
Right.
Well, we alleviate all that, right? Where you pay us, as you use us, obviously, on a per file basis. But, more so than just that, we have just really solid processes, like I was talking about, like a very, very proven method, very, very compliant. So our clients have the full confidence in us that we aren't putting anyone in a position where they are open to some form of legal action, because we are extremely cautious about that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, I'm sure. But and just how we really feel like if we get going on 5 or 10 files with a client in a very fast feel out period, and they get used to what we do and how we work, that we feel like they're going to be very happy and very comfortable with us. And then we more so are operating in the background, where if they are getting us the things that we ask, like at the right times, we're something just kind of spinning in the background, where they're not having to spend, every day looking at 100 files, if they dump them on us, or, constantly making these calls or writing these estimates and things like that. I tried to, kind of go off of, my first year in sales. I think I sold between like 50 and 100 jobs or something like that. How much time was I spending on calling the insurance companies for my car in the mornings, and how good of a job was I doing, to the point where I was like, you know what, I just got to take what I got here and move on. It's in at least 30% of your day, if you're a really like really good salesperson, you're spending 30% of your day doing that. And if you have someone in house, like that's a lot of dependence on one employee to keep your cash flow moving, right? Where if they go AWOL for 7 days, how far back does that push you? Because it's not just those 7 days; it stacks up, right? But
100%.
We are a team, right? We are a team that has very proficient estimate writers, very proficient callers, and very proficient admin, salespeople, account management, the whole deal. A legit operation where it's not just one person. So if you're gonna grow and you outgrow that one sales or supplementer, you can rely on us to come in and pick up that extra weight.
Right. Add the bandwidth without having to add additional risk, right? Because the name of the thing is, like, if you're a roofing contractor, you got into the business usually for two things. One, to make more money, and to have freedom of time, right? And so kind of what you're saying is like, yeah, you can totally have an in-house supplementer, but again, human nature is human nature. They're going to get sick. Kids might get sick. They might die. They might, like, all of these things we don't want to talk about, right? Like, it happens. Right. So if you put all of your eggs in that basket, what happens when they're not there? And that is the havoc. And so that's the power in working with supplement experts, is because you legitimately have a team of experts, meaning if one of you gets sick, which we will because we're humans, the machine is still working because it's a team working together, right? And so you alleviate the owner from risk of having to bring someone, train them, and hopefully they will stay, right? Like the hours and time, and how much money could have you been out making instead of spending time training someone to be a supplementer, right? So there's tons of benefits of hiring supplement, experts to support your business, 100%.
Absolutely. And we do meet a lot of people, like at trade shows in particular, or other roofing events that do have in-house supplementers, and they come to us and say, well, I already got someone in-house, or I have another supplementer, and stuff like that. And we're always like, well, hey, that's great. Hold on to our cards in case something happens.
Right.
Or why don't you kick us a few files so that you build process with us, and then we are like, dormant until you reactivate us and you want us to step in, and we're already familiar with each other. And and that happens a lot of times where people call us. And I think the most common thing, it isn't so much, it's a lot of people maybe are unhappy with who they're working with and stuff like that. Yeah, we get that a lot, but way more it's, hey, like our person has either shit the bed or has, some type of personal issue.
Right.
And now we're weeks behind.
Yeah.
Yes, we like, we're a volume-based company. So when someone comes to us and they're behind and they dump a bunch of files off on us, it's great because, we love cleaning that up. But at the same time, it's just like, for these owners and for these salespeople and just everyone involved, it's just like, I see that and I'm just thinking to myself, like you should, hard to say it, but you should have had a backup plan. And like,
yeah. So it's kind of like going back to not being a reactive owner, right? You want to be proactive. Yeah. And so that's exactly what we're saying. Like if you're listening to this podcast and you tend to be a reactor and you get a high being reactive, right? Which I literally think happens. Some business owners get a high of when a fire starts and they get to, make it go away. And they're like, yeah, I completed something. But sometimes those fires you made yourself, and you could have been spending your energy and time doing much better things that bring you more ROI if you're proactive versus reactive. So pretty much aligning with you, like having even if you have it in-house, having a backup and building that relationship. So when that time comes, because it's going to come, right? They are going to not be available at some point. They get sick, someone dies, they're out of commission because they had a baby, like all these different things. That's human. It happens. What are you going to do? Like, so it's like being proactive versus reactive. It really helps them lead a way better business. So totally.
Right. Yeah. And again, I am no way against having an in-house person to supplement. It works for a lot of people. It really
Yeah.
does, having someone who's there physically. I totally get it. But I mean, like I said, we're in our fourth year of business, or fifth
Mm-hmm.
year of business, fourth year. Yeah. But we've done thousands of files,
Yeah.
and we're very confident in our system, in our processes and stuff like that.
It's
So
like you're truly an expert. It's like you eat, sleep, breathe, supplementing. So it's like, who better to do that? No, I love it. So in the industry, is there something that is a myth and you would like to debunk?
I think I get a lot from or I hear, and some people will say it to my face, that they feel like the supplementing, like, I don't want to say it's illegal, or like it's not compliant or anything like that. I do get a lot of people that don't fully understand who we represent.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of, so I would like to take a moment to kind of make that clear. So you have PAs and
Yes.
appraisers, I guess, but PAs who represent the policyholder. When they call the carrier and they speak on a claim, they are directly representing the policy owner, the homeowner, building, business, whoever, right?
Yes.
A supplement company, supplement experts.
Mm-hmm.
We represent the contractor. Okay. So when we call, we are calling on behalf of the contractor. Hello, my name is Max. I'm calling on behalf of so-and-so construction. So what does a PA speak to? PA speaks to the policy, right?
Right.
They are licensed to speak to the policy. What we are saying is, we've reviewed the carrier estimate, we've reviewed the carrier estimate. We've reviewed the damage photos and the notes from the contractor, and all the information provided to us, and we say, this is how we say, or how we feel it's necessary to build or to put this building or home or whatever back to pre-storm conditions. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the way we say it have to do the repair per the manufacturer guidelines, per code, per the damage that we're seeing, and here's all of our information. So
Mm-hmm.
we provide them with those photos, with a properly written estimate, used to the fullest extent of the tool, because it seems like a lot of these tools, when people or carriers or whoever are writing estimates, that they aren't fully using the tool to properly estimate
Mm-hmm.
the repairs. This is how to properly repair this. Okay, we're not calling and saying, well, the policy should pay for this. No, we don't ever do that. We say, this is how this needs to be repaired.
Right. Okay. So you're calling like on behalf of the contractor, right? Which knows what they're doing. So you're speaking to them knowing, hey, this is what must be done to repair this. And so, yeah, totally. I understand that part completely.
Yeah. And I do also we get from the carriers, especially a lot more this year than the other years, especially lately. They're like, well, you're a supplement company, and I'm not gonna talk to you, or you don't work directly for the roofing company, so I'm not going to talk to you. And I honestly, for lack of better words, I find it to be pretty silly, and almost just not right, because I mean, in anyone who's listening who has even just an ounce of experience in this industry knows that, these guys bring out third-party adjusters. They bring out ladder now companies. They bring out other contractors to do the inspections.
100%. Yes.
And they sub everything out and take it a step further. Who did that adjuster meet out on the roof? They've made a 1099 salesperson. Who are the people doing the repairs? Mostly subs. So it's silly to me when I hear, well, you're a supplement company. Well, what's the difference between a third-party administrative service and subbing it out to them versus everything else we're subbing out to? And the truth is there really isn't. There really isn't. And, if there were specific licenses that were necessary to say, hey, you have to have this license to speak to how you properly would repair a roof. Right. And we would of course have those, but like the truth is there isn't. Right. It's open, but for us the code is very specific. Mm-hmm. And the manufacturer's specifications are very specific, and we know them really well, and we can speak to them really well. And I'm not saying in any way that the carriers are I'm not going to go ahead and say that they're purposely missing it. It needs to be known what the difference is between us and these other tools and that people can have in their tool belt, like a good PA. You need to have a good PA to work with because you're going to see things that are policy specific that we can't do. Right. Or you need to have a good appraiser, because if something isn't being paid out appropriately and you can't do the work because of that, and you tell, and it depends on, and I'm going to be very clear about this. You need to be you need to consult a lawyer in your state before, referring someone to a PA or an appraiser, because it does vary state by state. And I'm not going to tell you, go ahead, and do it this way. No, every company needs a lawyer that they can refer to and speak with about certain questions of their processes to know that they're staying compliant, like we do.
100%. Totally. So, especially in the roofing industry, you better have a good lawyer. But
that's also kind of I just want to expand on that. That's something that, I hope that our clients have the utmost confidence in us is that we do think like that. And that's how we do move is like, if I change something significant in our process in the way of how we communicate something to the insurance carrier, excuse me, I'm taking that to a lawyer before I make that change.
Yeah.
Is this compliant? It doesn't need to be changed. It doesn't need to be reworded. So it's important, and I think that I put a stronger emphasis on that to the contractors too, because this is, for lack of better words, a finicky industry where something that might make sense to you and not seem and seem harmless could be, in the eyes of the law, illegal.
Right. No, so powerful. So super powerful in, as a roofing contractor, making sure you are aligned with a really good support system of professionals, right? So obviously for us at Saenz Global, admin, with Max and his team, supplementing that really are up to date with what is, compliant, all of these things. There's such a power in it, and it really helps you as a business owner be able to really run a successful business, because your time and energy is now spent on selling roofs, building your team, spending time with your family, right? And not having to worry so much about these other aspects. Okay. So wrapping it up, but like, Max, who is your ideal client? If they're listening to this and you're speaking to them, who are they? And then also, how can they reach you? How can they get a hold of you? And how can they connect? So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that, we want to, in a perfect world, help as many contractors as possible. However, like our bare minimum requirements are that we require, our bare minimum requirement really is that all of our clients be set up with a CRM, have that database nice and organized. we ask for seats directly into our client CRMs, and that's where we put all of our notes. So that every time you're wondering what the status is of a job and where things are, that you can literally just go into your systems and not the last thing I really want to do for contractors, because contractors are a system people, not a systems people. So if I could keep them confined into one place, it's essential. And when we move outside of that in our process, it gets messy for everyone. So the bare minimum requirement is to have a CRM, and we're willing to work with you.
Yeah.
But the ideal client is not only organized, and ideally you have good processes set up, but we want someone who's gonna commit to the processes that we have, right? This is because I could give you a gold mine, right? I could tell you exactly how to do it, and it seems simple. Hey, this is we need 3 or 4 things really to get started on writing a good estimate, but 90% of our clients are going to not do one of those 4. Every single file. And to me, it can be exhausting to see. And it's unfortunate because, you're leaving money on the table, money like that to get paid for the work that you're doing. That can be significant at the end of the year. What's the difference of, $500 to $1,000 on every job? You tell me. You're doing 200 jobs a year. That's almost $250,000 a year, and that's at this point. Oftentimes it's more on your profit margins. So for us, I could tell you almost every time looking at a file what the carrier is going to ask for, what photos they're going to ask for. And we do the best we can to try to tell you, this is what we need every job, period. This is what we're going to ask for. This is what the carrier is going to ask for. If you're not going to do this, or you don't do this way, then tell us, ahead of time, this isn't how we do it. And we could change our estimate to be more reflective of what exactly you are doing. But when we don't know that's not what you're doing, or, you're doing it a different way and we're not aware of it, then we don't know. So we can't get you paid for what you're doing exactly. And that's frustrating. And
totally. So pretty much what you are saying is this. If I'm going to tell you what I feel like what I hear, right? So you're saying, hey, if this is you and you use a CRM, great. That's already a qualification, right? Because one thing I love about you guys is you're literally telling them, we are going to input all of the updates into the CRM so you and your team can see live what is happening. And do you know how crazy that is? That saves them so much time. That just tells me how cool you guys are for doing that. And then the other part too is you're saying, hey, we know the formula to success because we do this day in and day out. And we can relate as well here at Saenz Global. We know when it's going to be very successful because you follow the formula. If you don't, and this is what we need from you, which is most of the time just clear communication, and we need these details information, right? Now, if they're not going to do those things and they want it differently, then it's just a conversation with you so that you could see, okay, we need to be aware that you don't do it this way so that we can modify and help you get money, because you're leaving money on the table, which that could go to your kids' college. That could go to your next family trip. That could go to pay for that additional house you wanted, but you are choosing to not input, add additional minutes to do the right thing. You're losing thousands of dollars.
If the truth is the things that we're asking for are things that people or that companies should be doing. And forget about supplementing for a second. Take something as simple as getting photos of your build. Okay.
Right.
Having someone there. And in the way, when I train, if I drop in, or, Harrison or Riley, or whoever we have drop in, we talk about it all the time. We know you don't want to do this, but, forget about supplementing for a second. Go out there, be present, be with your guys that are doing the build. Bring them waters on a hot day,
Right.
Limit the amount of, properly project manage your damn jobs. Like, I'm sorry, excuse my language, but God, just like get out there,
Totally.
go knock on the neighbors' doors. Hey, my name is Max. I'm doing the roof next door. We got it bought by insurance. This is construction. Something blows into your yard. Here's my card. Also, if you haven't had anyone inspect your roof, I'd love to, I could take a movement and do that for you.
Totally.
God, how many jobs, people could have been selling if they just would have showed up, and gotten these pictures during tear-off. Because the truth is, and this is a story I tell all the time. I forget why, but I was somewhere in West Virginia. I'm from Pittsburgh, so West Virginia isn't too far. So like being in West Virginia isn't the craziest thing in the world, but it's a very underrated and beautiful state. But I was in West Virginia. I was waiting on someone. I was having a drink at a bar, and it was funny because I ran into an adjuster that I had worked with, and at the beginning of my something experts, I was doing everything. I literally had multiple conversations with this guy on the phone. What are the odds? I'm literally at this bar and meet the one adjuster I spoke to on the phone in West Virginia, and we were talking, and he worked for State Farm, and I was like, I forget his name. I'm like, what? Here's my template for my estimate. Here's my macros. Give me a nugget, man. Give me something that's gonna get approved 50+% of the time. Like, give me something that and justifiably too. Like, come on.
Right.
And
like,
he looks at it. He looks over it. And he hands it back to me. He goes, "I got nothing for you there. I got nothing for you to add, really. Maybe you could add an F9 note here and there. But I'm gonna tell you this." He said, 80-90% of contractors aren't documenting their builds correctly.
Wow.
They're not getting photos. They aren't getting photos during tear-off.
Wow.
So 80-90% of the time that you guys are asking for certain things on an estimate, like, certain flashings or, something that was existing that wasn't paid for. 80-90% of the time that those are on an estimate, we know we can ask for further documentation and you're not going to have it. And then we don't have to pay. Crazy.
Like, that is and literally, like, we have smartphones, you have company cam, which literally can like help so much. So really I think if you're listening to this 2023, like, make sure this year you and your team literally take the additional seconds to shoot photos that will really, help you close jobs even more. Very cool. Awesome.
And they're not like, they're pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. And then I show examples. I love showing examples of our clients and the ones that have had best practices. And I show them, here's an estimate that was $10,000 to start. And then we supplemented it and it had, extra $5,000, to $7,000 added onto it. The carrier really missed a lot of things here that really were necessary to properly repair this property. But here's the jump from 17 to 25,000. And and here's the photos that were used to push it that over the line there.
Powerful.
And everyone looks at it and they're like, whoa. Yeah. And then they do it for a week and then they stop.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
Like consistency. It's consistency for sure. No. Super. It's consistency. So if you are a roofer and roofing contractor and you maybe don't have someone able to do legwork, like making accountable that you have all that stuff, maybe you should reach out to Saenz Global, because that's what we help keep you accountable and making sure you got those photos and everything up to date.
Right.
Love it.
We strongly encourage that. I cannot emphasize enough. Like, yes, you need your salespeople, you need your sales managers, you need your production managers. You need a strong admin team to keep it running. They really do. You could say that supplement experts or your supplement company keeps the cash flow moving. Well, admin keeps the wheels of the entire company moving.
Yeah, I really say where it's like the heartbeat internally, right? It's the machine, making sure the machine is running well. No, love it. All right. So Max, how can they reach you? So can they call? Can they text? Can they email? Can they go to your website? Shout it out. Let them know how they can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to reach us is by phone or email. So you can email us at, and you can make like a cool little thing like pop up under my finger.
Yep, 100%.
Info at supplementexperts.net.
Mm-hmm.
You could reach us directly by phone at 720-541-9679. And you could also go to our website, www.supplementexperts.net. Feel free to call us. Feel free to email us. Even if you just, are unsure about some of your processes you might have. We're not necessarily here just to sell you on all our services. I have a lot of people that call me and just say, hey, Max, can you just take a look at this one file? We really don't do many claims. Or, hey, Max, like, can you give me advice here? Or, hey, Max, we have these processes. Do you have any advice? And, we're more than happy to help out, even if it's, not necessarily drumming up immediate business. We love just to start these types of relationships. But yes, feel free to go to our website. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. Our pleasure.
If you ever want to bring me back, or if there's a panel discussion that I could add input to, I'm more than happy to do just that. So.
Love it. So if you're driving and you're like, hey, I could not get the phone number, I didn't write down all that stuff, don't worry. If you're listening on Spotify or you're on YouTube, just scroll to the bottom and we'll have all those links directly to how to contact Max on there. So we can make it nice and easy. Max, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Everyone, we will see you on the next show. And again, Supplement Experts, give them a shout. Bye.